Greetings, folks. There's for KQ, Sparrow Moggington here. And I am just making my final preparations. Tonight, Sorcery 2 is very likely finished. Sorcery 3 and 4 are next on the list. I hope you're not sick of Sorcery yet, but if you are, too bad. It's anytime. Still, you know, when Sorcery goes too hard, you get Sorcery. Ow. Yeah, you would. You've really got to stretch before you source. So welcome to... what is it? Thursday? Thursday night. Welcome to Thursday night, folks. It's amazing how much you can get done in a week if you don't notice you're doing it. Tomorrow is apparently Friday, and who knows what comes after that. Always a new surprise around here. Hello, Windchaser. And hello, Silver and Saria. My usuals. So I had to spend roughly 3 or 4 hours after the finale of last night's stream just kind of getting things into a position where I feel like we can beat Sorcery 2. And I'm hoping that the next couple games are not as convoluted. And... ooh, wow, NES Wanderers to These. Anyway, I'm hoping that the next 2 games are not as convoluted, but I know that they probably are. These Steve Jackson fighting fantasy game books have a reputation. And that reputation is that there are many ways to lose, but there are often very few ways to win. Sometimes there's only one winning path through the book, and you have to very carefully thread the needle through having the correct stats, or having the correct spells, or finding the correct items. And I'm hoping none of the choices we made in books 1 or 2 have indelibly fucked us over. Expect there to be a trick in book 4 that needs to have an item from book 1. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm hoping that we're not gonna get fucked over because, you know, we didn't punch a man in book 1 and get one of his teeth, which is needed for a security gate in book 4 or something. Like, that'd be rough. You tried to talk Steve Jackson out of his quotes file. I think you tried to talk the wrong Steve Jackson out of his quote file. Did you talk to the American one or the British one? Like, did you talk to the Fighting Fantasy Steve Jackson or the GURPS Steve Jackson? Because they are different people. And I wonder if they've ever collaborated. That would be interesting. There are too many Steve Jacksons? I agree. I think we need to have some kind of tournament where the Steve Jacksons fight to the death. We can call it the Steve Jack Off. Let's actually not do that, come to think of it. There are 20 seconds left until we push through Sorcery 2 and then start Sorcery 3. But what now? Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. It's not important.
Let's go.
Hello, Alpha. Hello, Javarian. Alright, like I said, I spent quite a while last night figuring this out. The annual gathering of people with the same name. Oh, I remember that! The Tournament of Daves or something. And like an 8-year-old won, and it was awesome. I forget, no, something like that. I can't remember the exact details. Now I can't, I wish I could remember that. Make one of them use an underscore or a dash. Steve Dash Jackson. Now, put it at the start, right there. Like, dash Steve Jackson. Tilde Steve Jackson .bat.jpg. That's your name now. Steve Jackson. I don't know why I am... Okay. Anyway. The Josh fight, right. Lesser negative Steve Jackson. I still think the Steve Jack-off is a good idea. Anyway, like I said, I played through this for 3 or 4 hours. We're going into this with the cloth skull cap, the nose plugs, the windbreaker jewels, the black face mask, the sun jewel. Locket, compass, tinderbox, paper fragment. Yeah, I never found the second paper fragment, but I did find a way around it. There is a fortune teller who you can convince to loan you her crystal ball. And using the crystal ball, you can see into the future and see yourself answering the impossible question. So when you get to the impossible question, you can answer it by having looked into the future and seen yourself answering the impossible question. That seems possible. But yeah, it has been, it has been a thing, but I think we have the spell to the North Gate. We can get out of here. Now, you can't just read the guy's mind to find the answer. He doesn't know. He's receiving instructions from his god. Alright. So now we can recite the door spell. By Korga's grace and Forta's pride, I have... Basically, I Harry Pottered the solution. Maybe? Stream a car's dashboard because there is a Nancy Drew hidden object game built into the car. Do you have the name of the hidden object game? Because I may just own it. I own 2 Nancy Drew hidden objects. Anyway, 1 lock made of Golem's hide. Tumblers 2 sealed deep inside. I bid you portals open wide. The voice has gone silent. Just Nancy Drew in the dashboard. Yeah, I have a couple of Nancy Drew hidden object games. So, depending on which one it is, look around. You look around towards the well. It is crawling with figures, long claws and flashing swords, and hunched bodies scrabbling in the dirt. Goblins. Then the gate creaks, the tumblers drop, and the wooden panels begin to move. The door is opening. Booming out, the voice declares, "The gate is under your control." But it is moving slowly. Looking over your shoulder, you see an army of goblins emerging from a well shaft, and they are racing towards you. We have to get out of here. You rush through the gate into the backlands. In the darkness around you, figures are moving, pouring towards the gate into the city. Inside, you see the goblins still coming. Exit chased by an army of goblins. The fate of Kare is not your concern. Okay, that's probably the wrong choice. We'll go ahead and rewind. Close the gate. Gate, close! The gate obeys immediately, swinging shut like a trap. From the low hills around, red-faced marsh goblins are springing up and pouring towards the sealed gate. like flies to a fallen ox. They begin to scramble on top of one another, trying to bridge the wall with their own bodies. Destroy the goblins with what? My fucking telekinetic powers? The goblins must be controlled. As though on command, a ghostly figure forms in the air before you. It is Lorag. You control the gate, the figure whispers. Use it. Gate of Brown, now sit down. I don't actually know how to do this. It is hopeless. How can you use a magic you do not know? You close your eyes, feeling your anger and irritation rising. The hated goblins, this meddling specter, the long and difficult road behind, and the one still to come, all seem to bite into your very soul with wolf-like teeth. There is suddenly a terrible sound and a smell of burning. Cute way of telling someone to sit. That is, in a couple of places, the Baba Yaga spells. Hut of Brown, now sit down, makes the Baba Yaga's hut, like, plop down so you can get into it. I can't remember where that's from. Like, is it folklore? Was it Quest for Glory? I don't remember. They're basically the same thing in my brain at this point. Gate of Brown would be a butthole. You open your eyes. There is not a goblin in sight, just blackened grass around the gate and black soot in piles on top of the wall. The ghost nods slowly to you. All the hatred of a whole city of thieves and liars and murderers, stored for centuries, a little leaked out into the red eyes. The rest was waiting for this. It's Quest of Glory? For Glory? Okay, cool. Good to know. For one strong of heart enough to use it. He gestures to the path ahead. Go. Be safe. The road is long. You nod and turn to go. Oh, hey! We channeled all of our hatred and fried a enormous load of goblins. I'm positive that will not lead to bad things in the future. That was a very heroic thing to do. From a short distance away, you look back to see the plain outside the gate is quite empty. Not a single marsh goblin remains, not a single short sword or hooked pick. It is like they have been wiped from the surface of the earth. And inside Kare, something similar must have occurred. As where there was a sound of clashing swords, there is now only silence. You have saved Kare, a foul city perhaps, but not one whose citizens deserve to die by a goblin's sword. But it has been at a cost to your strength. You turn your back. Your own road lies ahead through the plains of Badu Baklad on towards Mompig. I wish this kerning glitch did not exist. You remember the words of the Site Master Sergeant as you left the outpost settlement. Once you have crossed the city port of traps, you will enter the Baklands. They say day and night are controlled by forces other than the sun. And from Kare too, your progress will be watched. Your journey across Kare is complete! In the course of your journey, you saved the city port of Kare from destruction. You played 6 games of Swindlestones, winning 2 and losing 4. I'm very good at Swindlestones. You learned the truth about what the crowd does and a riddle about the Sleepless Rams. You collected some magic artifacts. A cloth skull cap, nose plugs, 1 Blimberry potion, a black face mask, and a sun jewel. Also, you found a bottle of poison, a bottle of bark essence, and a tinderbox. You are armed with a broadsword and your original sword, and have 3 rations, 7 gold pieces, and a spellbook. The adventure continues in Sorcery 3, The 7 Serpents, out now. And I'm just gonna write down my password real quick, because you gotta write down your password. Bepozu. Okay, there will be a very brief delay. Because I am going to have to start up Sorcery 3 for the first time. And, yeah. Man, John Ingold. I remember this guy from his text adventures. Also, Fantasia on a Theme. That got my VOD blocked in Russia. Believe it or not. No sensitizers. I don't know what that means. Anyway. I've got to start up Sorcery 3 for the very first time and get it captured. So, just a moment, please. Oh, alright. That shouldn't be hard. It starts up in a window, unlike the other one. So let's just... Yeah, there we go. It's a little off-center, maybe? No, it's fine. It's fine. Steve Jackson Sorcery, Part 3. The Seven Serpents. So I'm guessing this will not be a, snake danger-free stream. Or possibly not a dragon danger-free stream, depending. Enter cloud spell name. That is... Bepozu. I wonder if it's possible to reverse engineer these and get, like, a better save, but... Gorilla... You saved Kari from the Marsh Goblins, heard the riddle, uncovered Vic's plot to overthrow the console. Okay. Yeah, that looks like our character sheet. Cool. Night falls on the 8th day of your journey from Anal Land. I'm not gonna stop calling it that, by the way. To the east, mighty mountains claw at the stars. You stand on the edge of Badu Bak, a wild and evil place. Beyond lies Mampeg Fortress, the Archmage, and the Crown of Kings. The path has been long. Leaving the hills, you journeyed into Kare and saved it from destruction by goblins. You braved the deadly portal traps of the city, ancient cruel magic designed to trap the unwary. You faced an army of enchanted werewolves as they sought to overthrow the First Noble. Wonder if it's actually a cloud save or a traditional password. Yeah, I don't know. The visual... Yeah, Inkle has good visual design in general. I recommend checking out their games in general. 80 Days, Pendragon. There's a murder mystery on a boat that I really want to buy, but I can't really afford right now. The Baklands are different. But the plains of Badu Bak will be different. Once, long ago, this land thrived, prospering in the warm shadow of the Fortress of Sorcerers high in the Zanzunu Peaks. Then something changed. They say the last refugee to reach Kara declared only they are all gone. The north gate was sealed and the Baklands left to die. Now the gates stand open. They say the land beyond the gates is cursed. No one from the young country of Analand has ever crossed the wilderness before. You will be the first. The old world is counting on you. The Seven Serpents. Alright, before we click our character... Oh, I really like this weird mist shit that's spreading across the map. That's cool looking. Oh, this is a big map. This is a really big map, actually. Okay, it's not as big as it looked. It's just horizontal instead of vertical this time. Alright. The stones of the old road disappear under a layer of dust, sand, and dust. Journey east instead of west. At your back looms the great wall of the city port of Kare. Ahead, there is nothing but an empty waste and the night. Walk on. But you have no time for backward glances. Your path lies ahead. You do not need to see the way back, for it is unlikely you will ever return. As you walk, you lift your eyes to the stars, wondering what fresh secrets they may hold, this far from the walls of Analand. Every step along the broken road takes you further from safety and into the unknown. Something, the gorilla perhaps, sets your senses tingling. You are not alone out here. Is that the screech of a bird you hear, or a distant scream? Trusting to your instincts, you draw your broadsword. At your back, you hear the rush of wings and the call of a gigantic bird. A moment later, a ferocious nighthawk is flung from the sky, talons outstretched for your neck. Hey, a bird. If Ninja Gaiden has taught me anything, it's that getting attacked by a bird out of the sky, you should always try to defeat it and then run away, and not run away and then defeat it, because if you, run away from the bird, it will just loop back and hit you in the head. You lift your blade as the bird comes down, cutting deep into its underbelly. The Nighthawk screams in pain and fury as it wheels back up to rejoin its group. You count 4 birds circling, ready to attack. Yell at them! Ah! This will never do anything, I'm sure, but it's very funny. I like it. I love when barbarians just scream at things. Try to take me! You cry at the circling Nighthawks. I have killed a Manticore! The birds wheel and scream, but they do not understand your words. You raving lunatic. Alright, so that's 4 birds at a time. What if there were 6 of us? I am not allowed to cast 6. Butt poo. We could try Fireball, but that's shooting fireballs at a bird. That's not very useful. What does this do? Create quicksand. That would hinder me! Can I dim them? Maybe? I don't see a D in here. Larger bird! That would work. Caused fixedness. Summon darkness. Alright. Let's try this. You cast the spell, and clouds of dark fog billow out from under your clothing. But they are quickly lost to the winds. The Nighthawks do not pause. One swoops, talons flanking your shoulder, knocking you sprawling to the ground. Well, that was a dumb plan. Why did I think that would work? Alright, let's fight the really fucking large bird. That bird could eat me if it wanted to. That bird could eat my family. Alright, full power. The Nighthawk swoops in low, talons outstretched. You swing wildly, hoping to chop the creature in the sky. Your blade strikes deep, cleaving through the whirl of teeth and grasping talons. Teeth! Teeth! This bird has teeth. Birds have teeth? Okay. The low hills echo with the bird's shrill screams. The Nighthawk opens its beak to scream and circles through the air overhead. For a moment, you lose track of it against the stars. Defend? Okay, that was bad. You drop into a crouch, it clicks long talons together, it's determined to fight. Let's just hit it as hard as we can. That is always the solution. This isn't much of a solution. Maybe I should have run away. So yeah, I am just gonna charge in and hammer at this bird. And now I'm gonna have to defend because I'm weak. I'm not gonna read all the combat text. I suspect it's randomly generated, but... Bird! You clamber up a nearby dune to get closer. You jump through the air, hoping to catch the creature. Okay. We beat the bird, and now there are still, like, 2 more birds, and they're probably gonna kill me because I'm gonna fucking run off. There's nothing else for it. You turn to run. Hey, I think we're gonna use our rewind right away. Because this sucked. And if it's just gonna, like, be mystical at me, I'm just gonna run in general. Ferocious Nighthawk. Let's roll aside this time. You tried to roll aside, but you were too slow. Run. Run. Okay. We lost one less point of stamina, so I'll take it. You get up and start running once more, but the birds move much faster than you, swooping through the air for your neck. Then quite suddenly, the Nighthawks break formation. Something else is shimmering into visibility in their very midst. Run forward or move uphill. Let's go uphill. You move to higher ground. I know that higher ground is always a good idea. While behind you, the strangest of battles ensues. The wing of one Nighthawk snaps upward like a broken branch, a second is ripped into feathers by invisible claws. The remaining birds scatter. There is nothing left but your mysterious savior. Let's stay hidden. You stay low, hoping the creature will not see you. But there is a rush of air just in front of you. Whatever it is has landed. You hear the movement of unseen feathered wings, and then you understand. This creature is a gold-crest eagle from the King's Own Eyrie in Analand. The eyrie is deep beneath a Shamutani wall. It must have flown for 3 days to reach you, but why? The creature, slowly becoming visible, sees you have recognized it. It tilts its beak. Bow? You bow your head to the eagle. It opens its beak in reply, then something falls to the ground. It is a message cylinder. Whatever it contained must be of vital importance, and the king would not have risked revealing your location like this to deliver it. You reach down and pick up the tube. Inside are 10 gold pieces and a sealed rolled parchment, sealed with the royal seal of the king of Anal Land. We trust these tidings reach you in fair health, but must warn you of impending peril. Your mission is discovered. The Mampang's eyes have spied our plan, and word is on its way to the Dark Fortress. Too late we discovered our unwelcome eavesdroppers, and news of your quest is being carried towards High Yamen by 7 serpents, the Archmage's most trusted servants. By now they will have reached the Baklands, and here they will divide to complete their journey separately. If you are still able, seek them out, for they must stop to rest and eat. Like us. Destroy the creatures before they reach their goal, else the Archmage will prepare a deadly welcome for you. Find Shadrock the Hermit for advice, for naught moves through the backlands without his knowledge. Our hearts are with you. Thank the eagle. You look up, but the gold-crest eagle has rendered itself invisible once more. You feel the rush of air as its great wings lift it from the ground, then you are alone. Let's destroy the message. You tear the notes into shreds and toss them to the wind. You will not quickly forget what it said. It seems the Baklands are not as desired as you had supposed. You must find these 7 serpents and destroy them, or your journey will be for nothing. Our carts are with you. Plug them into your console for training. I know Kung Fu. The stars turn in the sky overhead. Taking the pole as your guide, you rejoin the old road and make your way north. Before you, the Baklands stretch away to a dim horizon. How can you hope to locate 7 serpents in such a wilderness? I wonder if it's possible to miss or ignore that message entirely and enter, Book 3, The 7 Serpents, with no idea what you're doing or why there are 7 serpents. My spirit will guide me. He's been so useful so far. You will no doubt require the gorilla even more than before out here where nothing can be trusted. After about half an hour, you see a deep black line across the earth up ahead and catch your step just in time. You are 1 pace away from the edge of a sheer cliff. A few loose stones disappear over the edge and clatter away into the dark. Maybe we shouldn't be fucking around on a cliff ledge in the middle of the night. Like, I'm not a travel expert, but I think that is a bad way to live. You shiver and pull your cloak around yourself. The hour is late enough already. You will rest here, though there is no shelter, and continue in the light. Laying your pack down by the cliff edge, you try to settle despite the cold. At least you have eaten once today already. You do not need to eat again to avoid hunger, though more food will make you stronger. Out here, food will be hard to come by. I'm going to save my food for when I really need it. You close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. The silence is loud in your ears. Slowly, you're understanding the true loneliness of this place. You long for human company, even the withering insults of flanker, but there is no one here. The long night is filled with visions. A boy sits on a throne of skulls and swords, wearing a crown carved from solid bone. He seems not to notice you, but plays with carved model figures of goblins, trolls, and demons, playing out a war, though he looks bored by it. A small rabbit hops up to your feet, quite tame, and raises its eyes, which burn bright and terrible red, with all the force of a red eye of Karat. Yeah, rabbits are like that. They'll kick the hell out of me. And even when you sleep, you know the serpents are moving towards Mampeg, and every day you spend out here is a day in which your journey might be discovered. During the past day, you gained considerable gold and found 3 new clues. Morning brings cold, clear light. You wake, and find yourself lying all but on the edge of a great cliff that plunges to a rocky floor below. Good thing you did not roll over in the night. You approach the cliff edge and peer over. The drop is considerable, and the land beyond stretches for miles. Leading away to the left is what appears to be a carved staircase of rough stone blocks. In the far distance, birds wheel and turn above the landscape ahead. As you stare out across the plains, the featureless dust resolves itself into low, rocky outcrops and gullies. The landscape below is not as featureless as perhaps you first thought. Some way off, you see a spire of rock rising proud like a stupa. But through the mist, it seems sometimes it has 2 prongs and sometimes only 1. Beyond that, a range of low mountains rises, the Badubak Ridge. Badubak is fun to say. A second higher range is visible beyond, the Horns of Iklala. Their summits must be subject to wild winds, as from here it seems snow covers them 1 minute, yet they are barren rock the next. From across the plains you hear the distant sound of flapping wings, more nighthawks, but nighthawks do not fly when the sun is shining. Shielding your eyes against the low sun, you look south. The skies seem darker there somehow, and 4 birds wheel against the side. And suddenly they break formation. One falls, another is torn to pieces. A figure moves in the darkness beneath. Dayhawks? Aw, man! Rush to the fight. You rush a few steps forward, but suddenly the whole scene is gone. The plains and skies are empty once more. There is something very strange about this place. You turn your attention to the steps down the cliffside. They are carved from the living rock, and their surfaces, perhaps once smooth, are now warped and drilled with holes from the rain. But they lead downward all the same. How did anyone carve such a slope? What did they stand on to sculpt the stone so high up in the air? The top step is covered with a curious bright yellow moss. Sunlight sparkles in the distance. A lake, perhaps? A rolling stone gathers no moss, but perhaps we should. Intrigued, you grab a fistful of the moss. It is juicy and extremely pungent. Let's eat it! Let's eat some shit we found on the grounds in the most evil land in the country. Let's fucking eat it! What could go wrong? You taste the moss with a tentative tongue. The flavor is not pleasant, but it does not appear acrid. Perhaps it is not poisonous? Feeling bolder, you put a clump of moss in your mouth and chew. Thick yellow juices run down your chin. Swallowing the thick clump is hard, but almost as soon as you do, you feel a great warmth spreading up from your stomach. Whatever this moss is, it seems to be both beneficial. I'm having trouble today. Alright, downstairs. You stride onto the ancient stone staircase, trusting it will not crumble beneath your weight. It immediately crumbles beneath your weight. You're dead. Then, one pace at a time, you make your way slowly down to the sunken lands below. You clamber down the ancient stairs. It is painstaking work, as every step is about the height of your own body. Then about halfway to the ground, you are forced to stop. The steps below have fallen to rubble. The step on which you stand is in fine condition, perhaps sheltered from the weathering winds by the overhang above, but the next is gone, as are the others after that, stripped from the cliff face as though scoured. You can make out fragments of fallen rock scattered about the plain below. A few rocks skitter down the steep slope to the ground below. Don't we have a survive fall spell somewhere in here? Big, stop, thus. Yeah, we have a survive fall. The caster will float through the air and land gently on the ground. So, why don't we jump off the cliff? I think it'll be fun. You have no choice but to turn back or jump. You take a moment to gather your courage and let yourself fall far and fast onto broken stones. Okay. I think we should have cast the spell a few minutes ago. Whoops. What happens, actually? You land badly, and for a moment you are afraid you have broken your ankle, but you manage to stand. Okay, let's do that right this time, actually. Because I'm dumb, and we did fantastic. You cast a spell, lightening your body weight to a mere fraction of normal. You step over to where the staircase ends and beyond. You drift down to the valley floor. I like that they changed the token for that. That is a great little touch. You have reached the bottom of the cliff. Your weight returns, and you settle gradually back down to the ground. The air stirs a little, still cold, but at least fresh. The great cliff rises up into the sky, unclimbable and looking ready to topple at any moment. You take a moment to review your situation. You have ample food, carefully husbanded on your trip through Kare, and so should be able to explore the wilderness without immediate fear of starvation. But once provisions run low, it may be difficult to find more. At least you have already eaten today. Okay, that nos counts as a meal. We'll go without food. You do not need to eat more now, so you close up your pack once more. You crane your neck to look up at the cliff towering behind you. Presumably this is why there are no maps of the Backlands. Those who fall in never leave. About halfway down you spy what looks like a cave mouth. Totally inaccessible, of course. Oh well. You turn your eyes to the surrounding waste. Time to journey onward into the cursed plains. I have found a clue. I have found a clue? What clue is that? There is a cave at the cliff to the entrance to the Backlands. Oh no. Oh, no. Am I gonna have to time travel again? I'm gonna have to time travel again, I bet. Follow the cliff or join the old road. The cliff goes up there. The road goes over here. I think we're headed for the cliff again. I'm curious about what's up north. You walk along the base of the cliff. A few clouds scud across the sky. Scud? Scud, okay. The foot of the cliff is punctured by little holes. Perhaps the warren of hill foxes. Or whatever equivalent inherits these barren wastes. In the near distance, across the plains, away from the cliff, you can see a stone tower. The only stone structure in this whole barren landscape. Really? Either it's here, 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 or here. I don't know which one it is. Look up at the cliff. You gaze up the soaring arc of the cliff, barren rock, dusted by what little scrub can cling to its sides. It is as if some great clawed hand had scooped out the earth. You can just make out the cave mouth you saw earlier halfway up. It appears quite unreachable. The tower stands some way across the plain, almost in the foothills of the ridge. It lifts to one side, but appears not to have crumbled into ruin. The plains stretch away from the cliff to the north and east, and an old road winds east. Time to begin your foray into Badubak. Alright. I think we're sticking with the cliff for now. Leaving the shadow of the cliff, you step out across the plain. The sun is hot now. From here, the path is uncertain. Badubak is a wasteland, and there is no path through the great ridge that forms its eastern border. The forest of Snata is uncharted. The Zazanu Peaks and Mompeg seem remote. The Zazanu Peaks and Mompeg seem impossibly far away, and yet a way must be found. When the Archmage sent his birdmen to steal the crown of kings, they flew, but you must walk. There is no alternative. The future of the old world depends on you finding your way across this lonely dust bowl. I'm pretty sure we've made that point, thanks. The sunlight turns the dusk of the plains to a bitter yellow. As you walk, you come across an open area dotted with 20 or 30 small holes. Isn't this the plot of that one movie? Like, are we gonna find a bunch of kids digging out in the desert? Each of the holes is about a cubit across, and puckers up from the ground as if made by a gigantic needle pushed from underneath. Thin columns of dust rise from some, drifting specks gleaming in the midday sunshine. A flash of something catches your eye, but by the time you turn your head, whatever it was has gone. Well, I see no reason this could end badly. Let's stick our head in a hole. After some walking, you find yourself face to face with Shia LaBeouf. It is the cruelest fate I can imagine, being at the whims of Shia the Beef. You go over to the nearest hole and peer down. You can make out nothing inside but darkness. It's not clear how far down the hole goes. Put your eye to a hole. Put your eye to a hole? Oh, Jesus Christ. That seems like the dumbest fucking thing I can think to do. Let's just reach in and see if we lose an arm. You reach into the hole, and a moment later, your arm erupts with pain. You pull back, and a jet of hot steam erupts upward from the hole. Reach inside once more. Stealing your courage and ignoring the pain in your arm, you reach into the hole once more. There's definitely something there. You reach in and pull out a single polished giant's tooth with a hole drilled at the top. Part of a pendant, perhaps? You pick it up and put it in your pack. The holes cover this section of the plain. You'll have to walk around them in whatever direction you now choose. I'm so glad we have the ability to do stupid shit. Also, obviously, an Argonaut came by and, like, sewed giant's teeth all through the plains and upsprang an army of steam. Hey, there's a bridge up here. Where do we go from? Heat beats down from an empty sky. You journey across the open plains, approaching a curious black stroke that seems to have been drawn across the land. As you get closer, you see it for what it is, a gash in the land thousands of fathoms deep. The road comes to a stop at the edge of a wide fissure in the ground on the ruins of an ancient bridge. The wind roars across a crack of the ground in front of you like a mockery of a river. Alright, what does a giant's tooth enable us to do? I know I saw that in here. Yob. Summon a new giant, who the caster may control. The giant will disappear when his duty is done. Can I get him to throw me across the bridge? I mean, it looks like this entire area of the map is inaccessible otherwise. So maybe we can get him to, like, toss... Maybe we can summon a giant and have him toss us across the bridge. Maybe we should summon a giant and have him carefully pick us up and put us on the other side of the bridge. Maybe we can't summon a giant at all. We can do the featherfall trick again, though. Who wants to jump off a bridge? I want to jump off a bridge. Let's jump off a bridge. It casts a spell, lightening your body weight to a mere fraction of normal. There's clearly no way across the fissure. You'll have to try a different path. Your weight returns and you settle back to the ground. No, that's not what I wanted to do. You do? You do. Look down into the crevice. Okay, now we cast it and jump across. I swear, these hyper-specific moments. Suddenly you see movement at the edge of the fissure. Some kind of long spike reaches up over the edge, bends and hooks into the ground, closely followed by another. Run for it? You waste no time but turn tail and run, but the creature, whatever it is out of the crack in the ground and coming after you. Alright. I guess we literally cannot jump across this bridge. Unless we just do it. Unless we just do it immediately. And I want to try to jump, by God. So we're going to rewind until we have the chance. Look down into the crevice. Jump across. You'll probably be unable to make it, at least not without aid. So, do we have to cast a spell immediately, then look down into the crevice? Like, the order of operations here is a little... Look down into the crevice. No, we did... Suddenly you see... We just don't get the option, ever, to make this jump. That's frustrating, actually. It teases us with the possibility, but we can't actually manage it. Alright, move on. You follow an old road. The sun is beginning to lower. The air begins to cool. The line of this grand, wide road is all but invisible now. The fissure yawns a short distance to the north. From behind you, a voice says, "Excuse me." You turn around, only to find the road deserted. There is no one in sight in any direction. "Where are you?" you call, half expecting Flanker to materialize up from the dust to greet you. There is no reply. The cold wind whistles around you. The plains feel suddenly far emptier than a moment before. Looking east along the road, it continues along the plain for some way, towards the impossibly high mountains of the Badubak Ridge. You continue to walk. I guess we could go back, but... let's stick to the road. I want to hit this tower or whatever. You follow the old road. The wind picks up as the evening draws on. It will be night again soon, already. Away from the road to the northeast, the curious stone tower you saw earlier stands alone overlooking the canyon. You leave the road and walk across a desolate plain. The sun is sinking and the sky is turning bruised purple. Soon it will be dark. You reach the shadow of the tower you spotted while climbing down the cliff. Its sides are too smooth to be natural, and yet there are no stones or brickwork. It's like a gigantic game piece carved from a single block of stone. It is built almost on the very edge of the fissure that splits the plain. Hear me out. We summon a giant. He pushes over the tower. We use it as a bridge. I summon a giant yet? I forgot how to summon a giant. 1 second. Yob. It doesn't look like it. It actually doesn't look like we can... I want to cast a spell. Yeah, we don't have a Y here. Look for a door. You walk a full circuit of the tower, hoping to find a doorway, but there's nothing to see. The tower's sides are made of solid stone, if indeed it is a tower. From the very top, something metal glints in the sunshine. Craning your neck and squinting against the sun, you try to make out what the gleam is.
You ready to make some bad choices?
Thank you, Jade. It's good to see y'all. 8 months of a 7-month streak. Way to go. Let me go on a rampage with a giant friend. Maybe I should become the giant friend. Maybe if I want to see what's on top of this tower, I have to be big. You cast a spell. For a moment it seems nothing will happen, then suddenly you begin to grow 3 times to your normal size. Climb the tower. You stretch your arms around the tower and try to climb up, but you cannot find a decent grip on the stone. Any cracks or indentations it may once have had are now far too small for your finger to fit into. Let's shake it! You grab the tower between the powerful arms and shake it, hoping perhaps to bring it to the ground. Nothing happens. The spell fades and you shrink back to your normal size once more. Well, we tried. We tried. The fissure continues from where you saw it earlier, right across the plain. You step away from the tower base, its mystery unsolved, a metal glint at its top uninvestigated. You loser. South of here, the old road runs from west-east across the plain. You still have not found Shadrach the Hermit. If he lives out here, he must have shelter of some kind. Well, let's head for the butthole. I think. You walk on across the waste. Rocky outcrops break the ground here and there, and the trail rises. You are soon walking on bare stone. The sun is almost set. The sky is turned a deep purple. NES development learning. Nice. You trying to learn how to program stuff on the NES, or ROM hacking, or what? From somewhere close at hand, a strange whistling noise catches your attention. The sound is coming from the other side of a large rock. It seems steady enough, the sound of an ever-running wind. You peer around the rock and a strange sight greets your eyes. Whether a living creature or a freak weather event you cannot tell, but hovering a short way above the ground is a swirling twist of air, trapped in a cove formed by the rock. A small fly buzzes over the head of the whirlwind. A moment later it is sucked in and disappears from sight. Let's try talking to the whirlwind. Greetings, you begin. Are you indeed a creature? The whirlwind kicks a short distance up into the air as if leaping, then settles back down. A reaction to your voice or a chance movement? You call out again to the whirlwind. This time there is no reaction you can discern. Suddenly, from somewhere above you, you hear a voice. Anolander, I bring a message! You look up and to your right, across the rock face, until you spy a small boy, leaping from stone to stone like a goat. I bring a message from Shadrach the Hermit. What message? You call back, suspicious. The fire serpent. He's following you. He's going to attack you while you sleep. Shadrach foresaw it. The boy had scaled halfway down the mountainside now and is just above the whirlpool in the rocks. He's about to jump. Wait! The boy hovers for a moment, 1 foot on the ledge, about to jump. His eyes meet yours. Then the rock his foot is on slips. He begins to tumble downward. As he falls, you see him pulled through the air towards the whirlpool. Ah, shit. Can we do anything about that? Let's get big again. It solves everything. Looking to the stars, you craft the magic. It's quickly swelling to the height of a tree. You are mid-growing when the boy hits the whirlpool. He vanishes. Okay. That didn't help, actually. Slash the funnel with my sword. You draw your broadsword and stab it into the funnel. One moment you have a firm grip, the next your broadsword has been whipped from your grasp and is lost inside the whirlwind. Reach into it. You reach a hand above the top of the whirlwind. The force it exerts downward is quite strange. Then suddenly, without warning, it gets stronger. The sound coming from the thing begins to increase in pitch dramatically. Now pull my arms out with my face. You wait to see what happens. The force on your hand is getting significantly stronger. You attempt to step away from the whirlwind, but your hand is held tight. A moment later, the force has tugged your arm inside the whirlwind. From there, you cannot save yourself. You are trapped inside, and whatever happens there is so quick you lose consciousness before you understand it. You have been trapped inside a deadly whirlwind. Your adventure is at an end. Okay! So, this kills the man. Or woman. Let's rewind. And let's rewind back to... Do we keep our clues? Rewind back here. The steps below have fallen to rubble. A whirlpool. Ah. Alright, do we keep our clues when we rewind? We do not. You have no choice but to turn back or to jump. Okay, can we, find that cave, perhaps, if we climb back up and explore around? Okay, no, I guess not. Cast a spell. Let's cast Fall from here. And then jump. You jump over the cliff edge, putting all your faith in your magic. Then without waiting another heartbeat, you go over. That led us to find a clue. The clue is that there is a cave in the cliff. Okay. You drift gently down the side of the mountain. About halfway down, you pass by a cave mouth. A thick shrub reaches for the light from inside. You reach out and catch the shrub, and then guide yourself into the mouth of the cave. The cave is a shallow niche, carved by wind, barely tall enough for you to stand, and not deep enough for you to turn a circle with your arms stretched out. Ah, now here's my phobia, claustrophobia. I have a terrifying fear that I'm gonna get buried alive someday. Please do not make this fear happen. The far wall is a stack of tumbled stone. In a far corner lies a pile of dust that looks like it might have something underneath. You step into the main chamber of the cave. Your weight returns and you settle back to the ground. You blow away the pile of dust to find a small heap of four-sided dice. Swindle stones! It seems whoever they belong to has not used them in many years. You pick them up, feeling their comfortable weight in your palm. You roll the dice and they land with the familiar clatter of bone on stone. 4 threes. Had you an opponent, you would bet ruthlessly on such a roll, but you are, of course, on your own. You drop the dice into your bag. They are unlikely to be valuable, but gambling is a good way to loosen the tongues of any locals you may meet. Things with 6 legs and things with more crawl from cracks in the rocks and over your boot. You look around the cave. Sunlight from the cave mouth glints off drilled holes in the stone. Perhaps this place was once inhabited and its walls fitted with pegs and hooks. The back wall of the cave is a tumble of fallen rocks, falling during some internal shifting of the cliff, which would have happened thousands of years past. The fallen stones are huge, some the size of horses, some still larger. But through the gaps you can make out something beyond. A snake slithers out from a crack in the back wall of the cave. Ignore it. It's fine. You let it go. This is hardly one of the 7 serpents. It disappears into another crack in the stone. A large rock the size of a small rock. The size of Little Rock, Arkansas. You attempt to lift away a few of the stones from the back of the chamber, hoping to clear some kind of passage through, but you can barely lift even the smallest of them. Whatever lies behind this wall has been buried too well, too long. You find something, an ancient bamboo pipe. We need that for things. What does a bamboo pipe let us cast? Green-haired wig. Okay, none of those. I know it lets... Ah. When cast, the recipient will have an uncontrollable urge to dance. No dance, fucker, dance. No, you never had a chance. You put the pipe in your pack. Alright, let's leave. You turn to leave the cave once more, but there is no way down. That's fine, we can just feather fall it. Or I guess we could get big and step off, but... Whee! There are no stairs outside the cave mouth. There is no choice but to jump. Ah. The floor of the cliff is punctuated by little holes. Move on. Alright, last time we went north. This time let's head south. You have reached the bottom of the cliff. The sun has reached its highest point now. Out of the shade, the air is baking hot. The great cliff rises into the sky, unclimbable, looking ready to topple any moment. And our only road is along this road, so let's take the road. You leave the shadow of the cliff for the road that cuts along the plain. Heat beats down from an empty sky. From here, the path is uncertain. The forest of Sonata to the east of the ridge is uncharted, and the Clutterbox Steppes are said to be home only to under-evolved half-humans. That's racist. You're racist. No tracks climb the horns of Akala that lie a little beyond the forest, and there is no bridge across the Great Lake beyond that. There may be no road at all. When the Archmage sent his birdmen to steal the crown of kings, they flew. You must walk. There is no alternative. So... Actually, let's head all... Oh, we can go to the butthole. The blasted tree. Alright, let's hit the tree. You leave the road and walk along the desolate plain. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. After a while of walking, you see something to break the monotony. Too tall and thin for a skewer of rock or a building. You cannot place it until you get close. It is a single tree, leafless and dead, tilting from the desolate soil. Let's climb it! Well, let's look up at it first. This tree must be the last remnant of an ancient forest, though why this particular trunk has survived while the others fell is not clear. That is not all. A rope ladder hangs down from one of the higher branches of the tree. Have you seen where these 7 serpents are? Have you checked your butthole? You scramble up the rope ladder to get a view across the lands, but the branches seem to be alive, twisting and bending as you climb. They are clothing in around you like a trap. Untie the ladder. The knots holding the ladder to the branch are thick with age, but you work them free. The branch underneath seems to lift with relief as it is removed. A moment later, another branch draws backward behind you and releases, knocking you painfully to the ground. For a moment, you hear a sound, almost like a laugh. Who's there? You demand. Stranger! The voice is faint yet echoing. Stranger! Show yourself, you demand. There is no response. Surely this land is a desert. You are entirely alone, are you not? No, there's a magic tree. You look up into the branches of the tree to find the bare twigs have curved themselves into a human face. An old man's face that looks down at you with an overturned mouth. Stranger! The tree face declares wistfully. You are lost! I am not lost, you reply pridefully. My journey through this waste has barely begun. All who enter this place are lost, the face replies sadly. This is a land accursed. Every soul within is lost. Will you aid me? You ask. The branches flutter and break in a sudden gust of wind, the face disappearing for a moment. You seek the whereabouts of Shadrach of Badaboo. Badubak, the face declares. Where will I find him? Turn like a leaf in the morning, the face replies, sighing a deep sorrow of ash and autumn color. To the fishtail rock, he is expecting you. Another stronger breeze catches the branches and disturbs them. When they settle, the face has disappeared. Come back, you shout, but your words have no effect. Hit the trunk! Punch it! Ugh. Yeah, that'll make the tree want to help you. You wait a short while longer, but it is no good. You turn away from the shadow of the tree. Fishtail Rock, huh? I guess that must be this. But it might be something else. You walk on across the plain until you meet the edge of an old road. The wind picks up as the evening draws on. It will be night again soon already. The road snakes across the distance. In the near distance, you make out something across the haze. Not a tower, but a spire of rock. It seems to flicker strangely. From behind you, a voice says, "Excuse me." Last time we turned around, there was nothing there. I'm going to draw my sword. You draw the sword. The voice adds, "There's no need for that. I only wanted to tell you..." The voice fades away mid-word. You turn around to find the road deserted. There is no one in sight in any direction. You shake off the memory of the voice. The cold wind whistles around you. The plain feels suddenly far emptier than before. Butthole Tree McGee, the ancient informant of lost souls. The teller of the hermit place. You continue along the ghost road. I'm curious about this big-ass mountain. That is not a butthole, I'm pretty sure. Let's check down here. You follow the ancient road back to the edge of the cliff. The sun is sinking and the sky is turning bruised purple. Soon it will be dark. There is no way up the cliff face from here. The cliff face is covered with pockmarks and raised lumps, as though it was once ornately carved, but now nothing remains. You look back northward. Yeah, I want to go down here, so, the road leads away from the shadow of the cliff. The sun is almost set. The sky has turned a deep purple. The road forks here. The main path snaking up the mountainside to the east. Rocks have tumbled down the slope and all but covered the road. Stones shift and move underfoot as you walk. Alright, well, let's try going up the mountain road instead of over here. I don't feel ready to deal with that just yet. You begin to make your way up the mountainside. Night falls. You need to find somewhere safe to sleep. If you keep going through the night, you will be weaker for it. Disregarding the darkness, you begin to make your way higher, climbing into the foothills of the line of mountain that blocks all views to the east. The going is tough, and the stones underfoot are hard and sharp. There's something strange about this spot, however. A few small stones and pebbles are skittering past you down the slope. Put my hand in the flow. You reach down and put your hand into the stream of pebbles. They sting and nip at your skin, but most are no bigger than coriander seeds. You try to grab a pebble or two, but the ones you catch are too small to be useful for spellcasting. That is changing, however. Soon stones the size of your feet are bouncing and clattering down the mountainside. It takes a minute or two, but you finally snatch a decent-sized pebble from the growing torrent of stones. There are more stones falling now. They make a sound like a rainstorm. You look around you for shelter should this cascade get any worse. But of course there is nothing. You're on a bare, open rock mountain. Except for a fissure that you did not notice before. It opens up just a little way from where you stand, and maybe just large enough to squeeze into. You squeeze yourself into the fissure in the rock as the avalanche gathers force. Boulders stampede like buffalo down the slope. You lean into the fissure to wait out the rock fall, but then the rock walls on either side begin to move. The fissure is squeezing in on itself. How can an avalanche be causing that? You hold your nerve and wait. The rock begins to squeeze you more tightly until you can feel your ribs being pressed inwards. You pull yourself backwards, but you cannot move. You are stuck. You wiggle desperately, hoping to worm your way in one direction or the other. Suddenly the ground lurches underneath, and you are suddenly spat out across the ground. You begin to pick yourself up, only to be knocked down again as the whole earth turns sideways. You are rolling all but vertically down the rock slope in a torrent of stones and boulders. Pretty much exactly what you didn't want to have happen. Yeah, this place is like hostile architecture 101. Oh, not architecture. What's the other thing? Geology. Let's climb against the flow. I'm curious to see just how dead we can end up. You try to climb with fingers and feet up the now vertical slope, but it is moving, arching backwards. One moment you are dangling, and then suddenly you drop. A moment later, you have hit solid ground. Looking up, you see a terror-inducing sight. Change the channel! Looking up, looming over you is a colossal rock demon. But it wasn't a rock! It was a rock demon! You had been walking across its sleeping back, but now it is awake. And it seems the fissure you took shelter in was the crook of its elbow. The demon stamps its foot, only just missing you. Alright, let's get big and fight it. Ugh. I'm living the Crash McLarson life. Being big is the solution to everything. You cast a spell. For a moment it seems nothing will happen, then suddenly you grow 3 times your normal size. The demon turns its colossal head to glare at you. Its eyes are like open fissures of lava. You draw your broadsword, but the creature is massive, and surely you do not stand a chance in open combat. The rock demon lifts one enormous foot. Hold the sword over your head! You do nothing. You do not move, but stay frozen in place. You stay absolutely still, hoping the creature will not attack. Your heartbeats sound like drums in your ears. Then the rock demon turns away and begins to stomp off to the east, knocking another shower of boulders and rocks behind it that all but bury you. You cannot believe your luck. The rock demon is gone. You start walking once more. I guess I'm not big anymore. The climb ends in a plateau of barren rock. Gradually, you shrink back down your normal size. The moon moves slowly across the sky like a lidless eye. The going is hard, and you find yourself worn down as you take the path to the very top of the mountain. When it ends, it is not a path leading down, but a semicircular carved plateau like an eyrie. The views across the landscape stretch away to infinity. The plateau itself seems to have been carved out of the rock of the mountaintop itself. Perhaps there was once some kind of equipment or building here, but it seems to now be long gone. Several wide holes have been drilled in the rock floor. You look more carefully at the holes. They are evenly spaced, deep, and have been carefully carved. There must have once been a structure here, a stone circle perhaps, or a temple? You look away north, along the imposing line of the Badubak Ridge, and just for a moment you catch a glimpse of something massive, winged and scaled, gleaming in the starlight as it circles a distant mountaintop. Then the mists close and the creature is hidden from view, but there is no doubt of what you have just seen, a serpent. Looking north and east, you can see the tangled trees of the forest of Sonata. But there is something strange in the air of the Baklands, as the forest, grim, tall, made of trees taller than giants, seem to sometimes disappear, replaced by reeds and marsh. It is as though the land itself is breathing in and out in fits and struggling starts.
Dragon!
You begin to feel queasy and turn your eyes away. Suddenly you hear the flapping of wings from overhead.
Strong!
Fucking leg it! You run for it, scrabbling your way down the slope, falling and stumbling as you go. Hey, dragon! We found, yeah, that's kind of a Quetzalcoatl-y dragon. Apparently we get dragons recorded on our map now, which... they're features of the landscape. The slope is wind-swept. You trudge onward. The rock face is completely still once more. Only a pit remains where the rock demon once lay. You do not lessen your stride. The ground rises and falls. You emerge into a clearing. In the center is a tombstone. You go over to the tombstone. Its inscription has been worn away by the rubbing hands of the wind, leaving only the faintest outline of a carving of winding vines and 3 letters, Bree. Curiously, by the base of the stone, you notice a thin pipe sticking out of the earth. What happens if... We are not allowed to cast that. Frick. The pipe sticks about a thumb width out of the earth and is about a finger's width in diameter. It appears to be made of a light metal. You put your eye to the pipe, but it leads down into darkness. I feel like somebody's buried here, and we could be tremendously rude to them. Drop a stone into the pipe. You find a small stone and drop it into the pipe. It rolls away and you hear the tiniest clink from below ground. It must have hit something, stone or metal, buried below. Was there a slight echo to the sound? You drop in a second stone and listen carefully. clink from below definitely echoes. Clearly this pipe enters a wider, more open space somewhere below the ground. Can we cast it yet? I mean, it's on BRI is probably a valid spell. You try to pull the pipe free from the earth, but there must be more to it underground. If it were simply a tube, it would surely slide free. There is nothing here, not anymore. Surely. I don't know, I have feelings about that. Alright, back downhill. You rejoin the old road. I guess we have to talk to that boy. And I don't know how to, fend off the whirlwind. Turn cylindrical object to raspberry lemonade. Ah yes, the Kool-Aid Man spell. I prefer Sharkleberry Thin myself. If the whirlwind is semi-intelligent, can I control it? That is a thought. Controlling non-intelligent attacking creature. Maybe I can cast Doze on the kid. That would slow down his movement, so he can't fall in. Look around the plain. All around, dusty plains stretch north and west. Eastward, a range of mountain rises, cutting out the stars. The rock is a single shattered spire. Perhaps once part of the shadowy mountain range to the east. Perhaps driven up by the ground through some geological quirk. You approach the cave with one hand on your blade. In the dark, it is hard to say how far back it goes, but someone has been here. There is a stack of pebbles against one wall, a little like the cairns in the tunnels of the Manticore. You make your way inside the cave and find a dark, safe corner. Setting down your pack on the rocks, you try to stretch out despite the wind. Thankfully, you are not hungry. You lay back and try to forget your troubles. You feel quite safe here, and you do not dream. Reach the pit of the Backlands, found 2 new clues. When morning comes, you step back out into the empty plain. Sunlight falls into the cave mouth, picking up marks in the stone. Someone seems to have scratched a message on the rock inside the cave. It is only just legible. It must be ancient. In the thin sunlight falling into the cave, you can make out the ancient scratched message with some difficulty. Stranger, I am waiting very long ago, summon you. Call my name to the skies, and I will Adra. Adra, Shadrach, is at Fishtail Rock. Alright. The message on the cave wall suggested calling out a name. What name should you call? Shadrach. You cry the name across the plains, and the echo of it seems to set off a distant avalanche. The ground begins to shake and rumble, and you stagger to your knees. The very earth is moving as though it was splitting or merging back together. You reach down to steady yourself, only to find that grass is growing between your fingers. You pick yourself up unsteadily to your feet, feeling sick and unwell. Everything around you is the same, but everything is different. The rock has 2 spires, for one thing. The cave seems smaller and darker, and in a fire pit built into the scrub, in its mouth, a fire is burning. From inside, you hear the gentle sound of singing. You approach the fire. The sound of singing from inside the cave grows louder. Shadrach, you cry, I am here! The singing stops abruptly. There is a coughing and wheezing sound, and then an old man hobbles out from the cave, limping on a stick. This must be Shadrach himself, but you recognize the face as that of the tree spirit you met earlier. Oh, it's you, he declares, speaking thickly through his beard. I've been expecting you. He waves a hand around the landscape. Welcome back! Welcome back? Just so, you've come a long, long way, my anal lander friend. I know about your mission, of course. I know all about you, and you know about me, I hope. My name is Shadrach. What do you know of me? I know where you come from, I know where you're going, and that is all one can know about anyone, don't you think? He smiles. I know of your journey here from Kare. How fair is that city? Same as always. You lie. Surely, if this man has knowledge, he must know Kare is in great turmoil. He laughs. I watch an army of marsh goblins scale the cliffs. Armed with swords and axes, he says. There should be smoke rising at the horizon, but I see no such thing. He grabs a handful of dry grass from the ground and tosses it into the fire pit, where it blazes for a moment into flame. He appears to change topic. I must warn you that no one from Anoland has ever crossed the backlands alone and survived. I have been told of 7 serpents. You reply, and I was told you could aid me. Oh, the serpents are most terrible, Shadrach answers. I have often seen them, but they are no mere snakes. Do you know of their legend? Tell me about it. Shadrach nods. It is said that thousands of years ago now, or thousands of years from now, a few years ago for you perhaps, the Archmage of Mampeg fought and slew a mighty Hydra, which dwelt in the caves of High Zaman. So formidable a foe was this creature, the Archmage took its 7 heads back to Mampeg, where he used his dark arts to resurrect them as 7-winged serpents. Okay, that's actually kind of fucking rad. They became his personal messengers, his assassins, his force in dark places. Like, that's mean, obviously, but rad. Like, you take an entire dragon and you, like, take its heads and you make them 7 other dragons. That is, like, a necromantic fuck-up of colossal proportions. Because then you have 7 dragons and they will eat you and then fuck off into the distance. But I guess because he has the crown, it's cool. This is just a dragon with more steps. So they're thousands of years from now. Shadrach smiles weakly. Indeed so, look around you. I fancy this valley was not green with grass when you enter it. He's right, it is the same valley, yet not the same. I don't understand what has happened. You will, Shadrach replies, but you will learn that for yourself. I must tell you this. Each serpent has a spirit that sustains it, that grants a great power, but also a great weakness. Discover these weaknesses, and you may be able to defeat the serpents. Unexpectedly, Shadrach stumbles. He smiles at you weakly. Do you know the serpent's weaknesses? He shakes his head. Ah, those are the most closely guarded of secrets, hidden from simple divination. Please remember, to me, all this has yet to pass. He smiles thinly. But one thing, I have seen the air spirit defeated, and I can tell you how it was done. He remains silent, gesturing for him to continue. It happened like this. The air spirit, huge and terrible, was transforming its being into a puff of gas that could suffocate and choke its foes. But in this form, its empty body was weak, and when that husk was destroyed, the serpent was destroyed also. Shadrach is shivering slightly now, his face is pale behind the ruddy beard. You unwell? Perhaps you have a weakness yourself. This whole land is unwell, he replies. I will not be able to stay for very long. He gasps suddenly. Please ask me what you need to know and then leave. What other spirits possess the serpents? 4 are possessed by base spirits, those of earth, fire, water, and air. But the other 3 are mysteries. Shadrach coughs and shivers. Friend, I wish I did not have to go, but I must if I am able to close the circle. He gets his stick and pushes himself up to his feet. Where are you going? I go to rest, he sighs happily. I will plant my feet into the earth and lift my arms as branches and drink in the sunshine for as long as there is water in the soil. Time to leave. He raises his arms to demonstrate, laughs, almost teeters over, catches himself with his stick, and begins to cough violently. There is, he wheezes, not too much time. Farewell then, and thank you. Shadrach nods. We will meet again. We have already met, I think. He waves a hand at his cave. I have left one more thing for you in there. Travel well. Remember, when you walk through the fields of Ishtara, you are safe from the serpents. But if you do not return to your own time, you will never defeat them. How can I travel between these lands? Look to the beacons, he answers cryptically. If any have survived into your time, they will hold a little of our ancient light still. There is one to the north of here, at least, by the river. Go there. Reaching over, he places his hands on either side of your head, and you feel a great lightness entering your body. That done, he turns and stamps away across the grass. He leaves, heading west across the plain and fading into the hazy dust that hangs in the air. You muse on what you've seen. It seems there is more to the Bachlands than there first appeared. You are left alone by the cave mouth once more. You look inside the cave again, and this time find a strange horn hanging from a hook on the wall. It is ornately carved from a strange twisting shell with a hide of leather. It is a gale horn, one of very few in existence. You lift it down with great care. I don't know if a gale horn does anything. Yes. Huff. Creates a tremendous wind. Can blow things off shelves, over ledges, etc. Okay. We found a gale horn in this rock. Is it possible that, like, the decay of the gale horn left this wind spirit behind that sucks things in? So maybe it won't exist in the future anymore. Move on. You make your way back to the old road that runs past the rock. To the north, you catch a glimpse of the tower Shadrach mentioned, covered in green ivy. West, you notice a young tree that surely wasn't there before. Let's go pay our respect to the tree. You head out across the prairie. The air stirs a little, still cold, but at least fresh. You swat at pestering flies and midges. The dead tree you saw here earlier is now a young, strong sapling. In its shadow, a woman sits cross-legged with eyes closed. You watch the woman for a moment. She is breathing in and out, slowly, murmuring under her breath. Perhaps she is praying? Around her neck, she wears what looks like a giant tooth on a leather string. A fleet of long, thin birds swoop and carrier overhead, snatching flies from the steamy air. You approach the meditating woman and cough, yet quietly. Greetings! The woman opens one eye, then shakes her head sadly. You're meant to be over there, she says, pointing a little ways to the east. Cool, great. I love to be criticized for doing it wrong immediately upon meeting someone. What do you mean? She shakes her head, opening your other eye. No matter. They tell me I will get better at divination with practice. She offers her hand. You shake her hand and she laughs. How very formal. Well, met, stranger. My name is Eltheria. Welcome to Ishtara, the land of peace and plenty. Well, this sounds too good to be true. We are lucky, certainly, she nods politely. Will you sit with me a while? Okay. You sit down on the long grass opposite her. She smiles at you. I need to practice my third eye, she says, tapping what appears to be a small gem stuck to her forehead. Perhaps we could play. And reaching into her pocket, she produces a handful of small stones. Everybody we meet wants to play dice with us. It was so in the last book, it was so here. Except for the hermit, who died. He was more interested in dying. Although we could have asked him, do you play swindle stones? Anyway, yeah, let's play dice with a psychic. Swindle stones? That's swindle stones. My teacher has used that name before, but that is not what we call them here. They are mind stones. I try to read your thoughts if you try to read mine. Will you play? I'm no telepath. Nor me, but I'm learning. Will you help me practice? Do we still have that skull cap? We have a skull cap. We can... Alright. You begin to cast upward to the stars when Elithera catches your arm. Please, this is not a game of magic, but a game of inner sense. But you can read minds. She shakes her head. No, I am learning, but the sense is weak with me. Please help me practice. What is the stake? She laughs. Perhaps if you win, I'll give you the dice. How is that? Alright, let's fucking dice with the psychic lady. No reason to believe this will end badly. Actually, she seems nice enough. I'll start with... I'm gonna guess there are 3 threes on the board. Psychic Morgana would like to battle. I played a game like this in Kare, but it had another name. I have never been to Kare, and it's such a small place. It is the closest city, surely. Paul. 1, yeah. Unless she has 2 4s. In which case, it would be dumb to call her. Well, let's be dumb. There are 3 4s. It was dumb. Dicing with a psychic? Your mind is very confusing. I should be able to see clearly into it, but I can't. This game would be rather easy if you could. There's nothing easy about the site. Round is mine. You called this place Ishtara. I thought this place was called the Bachlands. This place is Ishtara, and I have never heard of the Bachlands. Not as a real place, at least. Gonna keep going with the 4s. How far does Ishtara extend? All the way from the Zazun Peaks in the north to the Cloud Cap Mountains. I do not think there is much beyond. You said the Bachlands are a real place? Of course not. The Bachlands are a story to scare children. She wins. I'll start with the... Well, try this. 2 threes. There's a bed. 3 threes. I don't think there are 3 threes. Aha! Have we gotten all the information out of her? When I came this way earlier, it was a wasteland. A wasteland? This is a land of peace and plenty. This land is peaceful, its inhabitants kind! Fucking bone wheels! I'm having trauma flashbacks! Yeah, no, something strange is going on. I'm not gonna... 1 3, the round is yours. You have lots of questions. I need answers. I cannot answer all your questions. I am only young. Well, I appreciate your help. I win. You are a challenging mind. May we play again? I don't see any penalty to sitting around dicing all day. And I think we can get more information out of her if we bluff really fucking hard. Let me see. I'm exploring these plains. Where should I go? What do you wish to find? People? Magic? A good view? People, food, shops, information. For people, head north to Karamama, but the real wonder is Lake Ikikaka itself. Iki blah blah. The ultimate psychic technique, sandbagging. Yes! You have come through Kare. It is a foul city. Such a small place. Shadrach says it will be important, but I doubt it. I'm just letting her win so I can get information, but... So you live out here often? Not in the prairie, I live nearby. Seems a desolate place to live. Let me see... I'll raise it to 3/4 and just lose. Two fours, she wins. Okay. Your mind is so open and easy to read, she exclaimed without tact. Please, will you play again? Alright. One more time. Have we milked this situation for all we can get? Let's begin at... Yeah, alright. Begin at 2/4. I'll raise that. Oh yeah, let's bid 7/4, motherfucker, let's go! I'm gonna bid 4/4. She bids 5/4. Okay, nope. So, you're a traveler? I am a sorcerer. For a sorcerer, you're far from your home, I think. Yeah, but who's winning at dice? How about we start with 1/4? And then 2 1s. 2/4. Really, you called on that? There are 4 dice! Shall we open on a 4? Okay. About 2 2s. There's only 1 2. Yep. Maybe 2/4. She'll raise that. That's possible, but unlikely. No? Okay, she won. One, 2. Well, I'll play a 3. You'll bid 2 2. Your mistake. Your thoughts are deep. Another game? No. I'm growing tired. She nods, gathering up the dice, dropping them into your palm. Take these. You'll have better use of them than I foresee as much. Alright, we have 2 sets of dice now. You drop the dice into your pack. I must be going, she says. Travel well. Come and visit me if you will. She waves in the direction of the cliff you came down when you entered the Badlands, but the why is not quite clear. You look at the tree. The tree is relatively young, fresh, and strong, as though it has been only planted a few minutes before. It is hard to believe this is the same tree you saw before. So tall and so very dead. But the position is the same. With the woman gone, you look around the plain, south and west. The great fault line of the cliff shields out the sky. At its top, it seems as dark as night. North, the grass stretches away towards a distant flashing line that seems to cut across the land. You turn your attention back to the landscape. I think this means that there's a bridge there now, maybe. Oh, I see what that shimmer effect is for now. That's actually cool. That's actually really cool. I'm headed for the bridge. We're taking it to the bridge. You make your slow way across the endless wastes, and the grass turns to dust as you go. As the morning moves on, the wind begins to rise. You crest a low rise and look across the barren waste, offering something of a view. Looking north, a deep, dark gash seems to cut across the land. Okay. You continue to walk. You walk on across the dusty plains until you join an old road. The sun is hot now. The line of this grand, wide road is all but invisible now. A little while off, a line of shadow marks a yawning fissure in the ground. Alright. Can we get... Oh, it's still a broken bridge. Okay. Okay, it's... Oh, it's only covering here. Well, that means that the tower is available. You follow the old road. As you walk, the paving improves. It becomes smoother. Slowly, the sun begins to make its way back down the sky. Away from the road to the northeast, a curious stone tower stands alone overlooking the river. You step off the well-paved road and cut across the grassy fields that have somehow replaced the plain that was here before. Days are short out here, the evening is drawing in. It will be dark soon. You reach the shadow of the tower Shadrach called the Beacon. Its sides are too smooth to be natural, yet there are no stones or brickwork. It's like a gigantic game piece carved from a single block of stone. Thick gripweed curves up and around the tower like wool around a bobbin. Beyond it, a river rushes past. You give the gripweed shoots a sharp tug. The plant is tough as rope and seems to be firmly anchored into the stone of the tower. The weed seems to grow all the way to the top. Quickly, you grab the gripweed. Thick gripweed, star of your favorite adventure game. Whereas the star of my favorite adventure game is just Thick Moron. But... Quickly, you grab the gripweed and scramble up the outside of the tower. The roots of the thick plants offer plenty of footholds, but the accent is easy enough. Soon you are hauling yourself over the battlements onto the top of the tower. You stand atop the tower. The wind across the grassland throws your hair into your eyes, and the ground seems like an endless green sea far below. The top is not empty, indeed, there's barely room to stand. Most of the floor space is taken up by a large brass contraption that has been built into the middle of the roof. The tower was clearly built to house the brass contraption in the center of the turret. You look over it with a curious interest. A large brass cylinder. It is set in a bearing in the center of the tower and protrudes a short way over the battlement. It is rather like one of the Chief Mage's telescopes, so why would anyone set such a complex device up out here, in the wastes? You loved Thick Moron and Gabriel Knight. I was thinking of the Broken Sword games, which definitely star a Thick Moron, but the nice thing about that statement is there are so many. There are so many Thick Morons in adventure gaming. You crouch to look through the cylinder, but find you cannot, as it has no eyepiece. The near end disappears unbroken into the brass mounting of the device. The bearing underneath the cylinder looks as though it might allow the contraption to move. Furthermore, set in the central dome is an impressive-looking blue crystal. The blue crystal is not a gem you recognize. It pulses with a small interior glow as though something lived inside. You push the cylinder and it swivels around the top of the tower, moving quite easily as though recently oiled. Nothing else appears to happen, however. You touch the crystal, but as your fingers brush the glass, something happens, and you feel yourself whipped up into the air as though catapulted. For a dizzy moment, you seem to stare down at the entire land of Badubak. Then a moment later, you are back on your feet, head reeling, but feeling curiously powerful. Touch it again! You reach out to touch the crystal again, only to catch yourself. The blue crystal on the contraption is flashing brilliantly, and suddenly the cylinder ignites with a thick beam of syrupy light. The beam floods across the landscape, cutting through the mist, and warping the view like a heat haze. The land in the light of the beam is changed. It seems the magic you witnessed earlier is happening again. Adjust the beam. Oh. Oh, shit. That's fucking cool. Okay. Okay, that's... Oh, damn, that's smart. Alright.
Let go.
I catch both? No, I can't get both. Wait, I might. No. Alright, let's do the entire river out to there. And we'll go across the bridge. But I'm seeing some uses for this. Oh, man. With the beacon blazing away, you swing yourself over the battlement once more. After an uncertain moment, you find the gripweed and clamber swiftly down. Yeah, that beacon can't reach every corner of the map. You scramble down the tower and drop the last few feet to ground level. South of here, the Grand Road runs from west to east across the plain. Okay. You return to the road. The sun is all but gone. Soon it will be dark. From behind you, a voice says, "Excuse me." You whip around to find a small boy holding a black face mask in his hand. He pushes it towards you. I already have one like that, you tell him. The boy giggles behind his hand. "No, you don't," he answers. "You dropped it." Thank him. You nod your head in thanks. The boy smiles and puts the face mask in your hand. Then he steps back and waits for something. You look in your pack for a suitable reward. You count out 3 gold pieces in his palm. The boy's smile grows wide at the sight. "Thank you," he breathes. "By Throth, I'm glad I followed you. I mean, that I was here. You know what I mean." He puts the gold in a pocket. You squat down onto your ankles to be at the boy's level. He is clearly local, and likely to know a lot about the area. "What do you know of the 7 serpents?" "Nothing," he shrugs. "Sounds like one of Shadrach's stories." "So you know Shadrach?" "Of course I do," he replies. "Everybody knows Shadrach. He's a brute and he beats children if they make too much noise near his cave." He seemed most ferocious." "He hates children," the boy replies. "He says they are all thieves and villains." The boy is starting to look twitchy. "How can I cross Lake Ikawa?" "You can usually get a ride on a fishing boat," the boy replies, "if you don't mind dawdling while they catch their fish." The boy hops from foot to foot. "Okay, enough talking." You nod to the boy and stand back to your full height. "Old groans are so boring," the boy complains. With a nod, he in the other direction along the road. It is only later you realize he somehow swiped the cloth skull cap from your pack. Children are all liars and thieves. The line of the road curves gently as you follow it. The surface begins to crack underfoot. Soon the roadway is lost under a layer of fine dust. You need to rest, especially after so long walking with an empty belly. You search onward through the dark. Hopefully I can get a rest. The road meets the end of the fissure, but some way along the way it floods, becoming a rush of water. The first few stars appear. You are met by a cheering sight. Where once this spot held the ruined foot of an ancient bridge, now a majestic stone arch rises high in the air that crosses the river here. A way across. You haul your way up the first few steps of the bridge until you are standing above the water. You can see for miles in either direction. The tower to the east, the grassy plains ahead. The rushing water throws cold spray on your face. You settle down against one of the feet of the bridge. It is cold but somewhat sheltered, and the river provides a soothing background noise. You have not yet eaten today. You eat a quantity of your cheese and bread and feel much better for it. Then you stretch out and rest. What is left of the night is kept busy with vivid dreams. You see yourself outside your body, leaning forward to touch a blue crystal in a brass socket. For a moment, a beam of light shines upward across the clouds, brilliant and alive. Meanwhile, your body burns and crumbles to dust where it stands. And all the while, you hear distant laughter from the east. Use 1 provision, 1 gold, met Shadrach the Hermit. I have no idea if we're on a time limit. Let's cross this bridge. The early morning sun makes the air glow. You cross the bridge. Wary at each step, the ancient stones will collapse under you, but they hold firm all the way across, and you reach the far side. The grassy plains stretch away once more. Behind you, the river roars and screams. The mighty bridge leads back across the river from here. Let's not stop and eat immediately. But let's go ahead and follow the road. You carry on, tramping across the plain, and the land seems to die with each step. The day is likely to be clear and will be hot once more. The road is barely visible through the dust. A few scattered bones line the path. You pick over a few of the bones. Thin femurs, long arms, elven, most likely are black elf. The wind to scour them dry. You continue to walk. You have been wandering the backlands for 3 days already, and you still have not crossed the ridge. Okay, well, I guess we'd better cross the fucking ridge then, because the game's gonna be a dick about it. Oh man, that is a long way. Yeah, you know, that's the point. We haven't I mean, how would we have? But you continue following the road. As the sun climbs towards its zenith, the winds pick up. The plains are wide and empty. To the south, the fissure yawns, wider here and furiously deep. To the north, the land climbs a low, rocky rise. What's this? You abandon the road and walk along the bone-gray plain. It is hot now. You're starting to sweat under your cloak. You're climbing up a rocky rise, not a natural outcrop as you first assumed, but a pile of large carved blocks over which the dust of many ages has blown. You clamber to the top of the stack of stone. You try to get a view of the plain, but from the top you can see little more than you could from the bottom. Except that looking down, you see something blue glinting from inside the pile of stones. You try to squeeze your hand into a crack in the stone to reach the blue gleam of crystal, but it is only just visible under a heap of large stones. You cannot get close enough to reach. You look in your pack for something you can use to knock the crystal free. The magic chain. You draw the chain, whispering and spitting from its pack, and lower it into the cracks between the stones. The chain acts like a snake, catching the crystal in its loops and holding it fast. Then you draw the chain back. You touch the blue crystal, and suddenly you feel yourself ascending. Okay. A moment later, you are tumbling downward from the sky, the wind rushing past your face. You are certain to shatter into 1,000 pieces. Then suddenly you're on the ground once more. It takes a moment for you to regain your breath. Incredible! Touch it again! You touch the blue crystal, and once again you rise above the ground. Oh! Oh! This is letting me see where they are. There's only the two, unless we missed something. Or we can't see ones we haven't been to yet. Okay. I don't know how to... Oh, shit! It's a teleporter! We got fast travel! So now we can adjust the beam. And the dragon doesn't exist in that time, so we can just walk on by. A way to get back across the river? Yeah. It's... Okay. Let's go. Now, if the dragon doesn't exist in that time, it can't stop us from crossing. Cute. Well, this is fine. You continue across the endless waste. The sun begins to dip, heading towards the horizon. A few hundred yards ahead of you is a camp of covered wagons and carts arranged in a circle. At its center, a fire burns, and you can see figures moving around the camp. Let's just go around the camp, actually. That's a bit too far north. You walk on across the dusty plains. Rocky outcrops break the ground here and there, and as the trail rises, you are walking on bare stone. The sun is now in the lowest quarter of the sky. Sitting in the low rocks and humming to himself is a dwarf. Over his shoulder is a cloth-string bag. "Greetings, stranger," you hail, striding towards him. The dwarf peers back. "And what are you? Are you here to rob me?" "No." "Lucky," he replies with a smile, "since I don't got nothing." As he talks, he slings his bag onto his lap and opens it up. From inside, he removes a chunk of heavy blackened bread. "You want some?" "Thank you." You sit down on a rock close to the dwarf, and he hands you a chunk of bread. It is stale and dry, but provides nourishment to stave off the worst of your hunger. "Is there any way across the mountain?" I've been wandering this lane for 2 months, the dwarf answered, ever since I left Kare. I've not found one yet. What's your name? Mist. A stupid name for a dwarf. Dwarves have names like Gutter Paste, not names like Mist. My parents thought they were something different, didn't they? He spits. The dwarf casts a quick, worried look behind him up the mountain slope. Long climb? I wouldn't go that way, he answers. There's a perfectly good path, but there's something evil at the top. What kind of something? He shakes his head. I have no idea and I don't want to know, but whatever it is, it blocks out the sun. What are you doing out here? Looking around, hoping for better? The dwarf eats his bread as he answers. Have you been to Dwarf Town in Kare? It's a hole. I want to break off on my own, get away from all the fighting. You stand and bid the creature farewell. He shrugs. I won't. No one does out here. Continue on your way. The rocks underfoot soon turn into a slope, and the slope gets steeper, till the going is hard and you're heaving for breath. Another night begins. You should try to find a place to sleep. The slopes of the mountain burst into sudden color. Ropes slung with prayer flags of all colors crisscross overhead. I think we can make it up the slope. You continue up the winding path into the path at the top of the mountain. The moon sets, more stars appear. At the peak of the mountain is a sudden plateau looking down across a night-shadowed, swampy valley to the east. But you may not need to tramp through them, as a magnificent stone bridge leads away into the dark. Let's rest here. You feel a sense of protective calm, so you do your best to curl up and rest on the hard stone colds of the mountaintop. Laying your pack down on the rocky ground, you try to rest despite the strange noises that float across the landscape. You let your tiredness overtake you. You are protected here, and your rest is untroubled by dreams. You get to your feet to find the bridge is just as you left it. Away eastward. You stride forward, but a figure emerges from a low hut by the head of the bridge and blocks your path. You stare at the hunched figure. You cannot believe your eyes. It is Vankus, the strange guardian whose bridge you crossed in the Shamutani Hills. But what is he doing here? The figure shambles onto the first stone of the bridge, sighing at the effort. "Oh there!" you call out. "Greetings!" The figure turns to you, leaning heavily on a stick. It does not seem to recognize you. "An ugly sort! What brings you here? If Vankus bridge you wish to cross, be prepared for dismay and fear. It's definitely Vankus." "You don't remember me." The creature shuffles closer until his dank breath fills your nostrils. Vankus he does not forget, except for those he has not yet met. "I wish to cross your bridge." He nods. "This is my bridge. It spans a rift. To pass, you must provide a gift." The image of the black face mask pops into your head. "Alright, sure, why not?" Reluctantly, you hand over the face mask. He regards it for a moment, then no good. Then shakes his head. "Don't like it, it's no good." Without pausing, he tosses the black face mask away over his shoulder, and you watch how it tumbles out of sight. Something better, if you would. The outline of a sun jewel appears in your thoughts. "I've paid once already." "My bridge both east to west and back it spans, so pay for once, and then you must pay again." I want to shove this man into the fucking crevasse, but... Haggle. Perhaps we can come to an arrangement? Begins. Vankus shakes his head without interest, and the hunchback looks up sharply. "Unless a simpler price you'd gladly pay. An arm, a leg, a finger, pray?" "I'll give you a finger. You can pick which one." "A finger," you reply boldly. "Very good. The price is made. The littlest one now conveyed." And he does not seem to do anything, but a little finger on your sword hand bends backward until it snaps with a click and then detaches, falling to the dirt. You howl in pain. And that is that. With a last clear nod, the hunchback steps from the bridge and back into his hut. That price sucked. And we can't even cross the bridge because it's not complete. So next time... when we play Sorcery... we're going down into the valley instead, I think. To cross that way. But I gotta be honest with you guys, I feel like we're doing it wrong. I feel like we should be fucking around in the valley until we find out what the fire drake or fire snake or whatever is weak to. And then we should fight it like a proper hero. Because this is called the Seven Serpents. If we evade the Seven Serpents, what do we got? And, you know, that'll warn the bad guy that we're coming. And we'll probably die. In book 4. Well, you know, who knows? Honestly. It seems like every book has a way to make it harder on yourself in the next book. Like, we did some time traveling in book 2, and that cut our health down, but we could have just walked through the gate and blown off the wizard, and he would have cursed us. And that would have sucked. Here, we can ignore the serpents and move on, but that means that the bad guy knows we're coming. And we'll probably be screwed even harder. So I don't know, it's hard to know quite what to do here. We might end up starting this book over at some point, to try again. The Sorcery series, game books in general, are all about trial and error. It really exploits the fact that you cannot see what is on page 121 until you turn to page 121. This is why people stick their fingers in the book and as a bookmark and just flip between 2 pages to see which is the good one. Which I guess is a rewind function. But, you know. Anyway, thank you all for showing up. Tomorrow, we will have a little bit more of Sorcery. Yeah, the rewind function is cool. The beacon function is extremely cool. This does things with the medium. And I can't help respecting that. There is... I am not gonna raid into anyone, but I am gonna just say goodnight. Thank you for attending. I am gonna go eat some foods. Good night, everybody.